Hello, 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 and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you all are joining us on this Monday Eve of Black History Month, even though we celebrate Black History 365 days throughout the year. I'm your man, Stan the Man Martin of Reach Buffalo. Happy to be back in this seat, in this chair, and we have a wonderful show that we want to bring to you all today. But before we get into today's business, today's conversation of Reach Talk, I'm going to say hello to my good friend and colleague Sam. I haven't seen you in a minute. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's nice to be back on the show with you. It's been since last year at this point.
Yes, yes, yes. I took a little break. I, I, I had to reach out across the beach.
You work hard. It's okay. But I'm glad you're back.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. It's good to see you and be in this space with you. We also have joining us the one and only Pastor Reverend Mark Blue. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's good to be on the show, man. I'm doing real good.
All right, right. Glad you could be here as well. And I got to give a shout out to our extraordinary producer, Angelita, who's behind the scenes making it all happen, bringing it together. So, Angelita, shouts out to you for being here as well. But before we get started and get into our discussion, just for some of you who might be joining us for the first time, I just want to share with you some information about REACH. REACH actually stands for Racial and Ethnic Approaches Towards Community Health. We're working here in the city of Buffalo to reduce chronic disease amongst African Americans and those who identify with the Black diaspora. I should say brown communities as well, unapologetically. Awesome. So, that's just to give you a quick overview about REACH. We're addressing increasing access to food and nutrition, tobacco prevention. How do we improve our referrals to community linkages to healthcare providers, and also encouraging continuous continuity of care in regards to breastfeeding, and once again, raising awareness of creating access to food and nutrition, which is very important in our communities today. That being said, I want to just say a brief few words. A man who needs no introduction. When I saw his bio, I was like, oh my God. Like, wow, this brother's been busy, but he's doing some phenomenal work. I'm just going to touch on a few things that I just want to share with you all. And certainly, you can find out more information. He's going to share for more information today. But Pastor Blue, he was called the pastorate at the Second Baptist Church in 2001. He's also served as a strong representative and champion on the president of Baptist ministers, in terms of bringing the conference together and, organizing that. In addition, in 2016, Pastor Blue, was nominated as the Buffalo Branch National Association president, the National Association president for the advancement of colored people. Listen, we ain't playing around, y'all. We kicking 2022 off with a bang. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it's very important, especially on the eve of Black History Month. And last but not least, one of his many accomplishments that, we're going to get into a little bit more today is that he's working on the Vaccine Health Equity Vaccination Task Force here in Western New York. So we're happy to be here with Pastor Blue, and welcome to the show, Pastor.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you. And Stan, when we first met on the task force meeting, I knew that we had to come together. REACH is doing such great work in providing opportunities in our community. And together, many hands make light work. So together we can do more in reaching our people.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that, Pastor, because no organization, no man, woman, or other can do this work alone. So I'm gladly and proudly to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as we move forward. So, that being said, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe that you want to elaborate on for our audience. People are joining us from across the coast, from coast to coast. Maybe a little bit about the mission of the NAACP.
Well, the NAACP, the Buffalo branch is one of the oldest branches in the NAACP. We have been in existence since 1915. We've already celebrated our centennial over 100 years. The NAACP actually had its foundation in Buffalo with the Niagara Movement, which was in 1907. And in 1909 is when the NAACP nationally formed in New York City. So we are actually part of the history of the original Niagara movement and the NAACP in our own city of Buffalo. So we're very proud of that accomplishment. Also, the mission of the NAACP is to actually eradicate racism, and that is a tall order. That's a continuing order that we have to move forward in doing. All health disparities, making sure that there's equity in across the board, from the judicial system to all areas of life. So we have a broad spectrum when it comes down to our mission. And we realize that with that being the case, it's a continuum. It won't stop. When we sing the song "We Shall Overcome," I was asked, why do we stop singing that song? Because it hasn't happened yet. So those are things that we have to continue to do to make sure that there's equity and fairness across the board.
Right. Wow. Thank you. I mean, that's something that we're hearing a lot, today, a lot of conversations surrounding equity. And you may have mentioned it, Pastor, but how long have you, been in this position? And
I've been in this position for 6 years, but I've been a member of the NAACP for a great while. And one of the things that I see is that there's still room and there's still growth. And we have to continue to educate our young people to pass on the baton so the race can continue and that there's no slowdown. So we have to be a part of that movement. Also, one of the things that I have been tasked to do by the governor both governors of New York. I am the head of the task force for the Western New York area for vaccine health equity. And that covers 5 counties, Allegheny, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, Niagara, and Erie. So we have a great work to do. It's a continuing work that we have to do. And one of the main factors or areas that we are faced with as far as hesitancy is misinformation. And Reach has put out some excellent videos and excellent information along with the program that we are currently involved in, and that is the Roll Up the Sleeve campaign. That Roll Up the Sleeve campaign is partnered with the Buffalo Urban League, National Action Network, and of course the NAACP. And we are working hand in hand. And I also want to say, and Reach as one of our collaborative partners, we're working hand in hand to try to put out the best information that we can so individuals can make that conscious decision to become vaccinated. One thing that we know is that vaccinations work. Listen, I'm old enough to remember on my left arm, I have a small circle of indentations of the vaccines that we had to get when we were younger. And I believe everybody, maybe 50 and over, has that same mark on their arm. We have been getting vaccinated all of our lives. Polio, influenza, all of our lives we've been vaccinated. Children have to be vaccinated in order to attend school. But the problem comes in with our last president, 45, who gave out a lot of misinformation, who gave out a lot of opportunities for those who are propagating their racist agenda to do that without any type of repercussions. So it's very important that we make sure that we give out the correct information. And by the way, 45 took the vaccine. He's telling people not to take it. Now he's telling people to take it because he already took it. He already took it. So it's a problem of misinformation that we have to continue to educate our communities on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Pastor. It's interesting that you were doing so much work involved with the vaccine and the hesitancy in getting out the information. I'm curious as to what were your thoughts initially when the pandemic first started? We're almost 2 years in. What were some of your thoughts in the beginning?
My thoughts in the beginning is that if people don't become educated on what to do, this pandemic will get out of control. With anything, we are resilient. We will overcome this, but we need the right information and the right protocols in order to take. A lot of churches felt that because we are a people who need that socialization. We come together, we celebrate, we play together, we cry together, we go through a lot of emotional changes. And one of the things that when this verse became apparent is that the social and the emotional strain on our people will take its toll on a lot. We have to learn how to grieve properly, and we haven't had that opportunity when it comes to the loss of life. We help one another. We encourage one another. We are touchy-feely in respect that that's part of our culture. That's part of what we are and who we are. And without that, that's like a certain segment has been ripped away from us. Now, how do we come back together? Let me also say that this pandemic has also alerted us to what's real and what we need to do. Those things that we neglected to do. Families coming together, families sitting down and having dinner together. We were so bent on what we were doing, we were losing part of our family. So this pandemic has been a curse and a blessing all at the same time, because now you get to know your spouse again. Because of the busyness of schedules, you don't know who you're with. You kind of lose that contact. You get to have that reconnection with your children again, because it's very important that connectivity. Social media and this electronic age has divided us to the point where at one point we were at Christmas, and my children, they were in college, so they all came home from college, and we're in the living room. We're in the living room. We're all on our devices, talking to one another. Wait a minute. Put all this down. Let's have some real talk. Let's have some real conversation. But one of the things, I mean, it's funny, but that's what we are drawn to. Mm-hmm. So we need to get back in touch with who we are as a people, as a family. I remember growing up around the dining room table with grandma. Every time we would have prayer, we would eat together, we would talk and conversate. That's why the dinner table is so important. Yes. So we need to make sure that we have this reconnection in this pandemic, so we get to know who our family is once again.
Absolutely.
That's great. I'm curious, you kind of mentioned how COVID impacted your family specifically, and then a little bit about how you've seen it within your community. How has it affected the NAACP?
Well, the NAACP, it has, now let me say, this is an old organization, and we're getting newer people on board. And now some of the older people, some of the founders, some of the patriarchs have now been forced to learn social media. We did a lot of pen and paper, but now this has brought us up to speed with the Zoom meetings, the webinars that we have. We are able to reach more people during this pandemic than we were with just pencil and paper and a stamp. So it has opened us up. It has broadened the horizon. It has made the message greater, and it has allowed us to be more proactive and reactive and reaching a broader scope of people. So it, again, a blessing and a curse. We have to deal with this new technology, this new age, and those of the old guard are saying, we want to be in contact, we want personal contact, but you can get more people, reach more people in this way and still have personal contact. So it's been a blessing and a curse there as well as with all industries and all occupations. We have been Zooming, webinaring, WebExing all this time. But again, there's nothing like coming together and meeting one another and having that social experience as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned all of that, all the different ways in which the NAACP is working on, expanding your reach, making sure that you get out there. We'll obviously talk more about vaccines, COVID, flu, et cetera. But what other kind of health initiatives is the NAACP involved in, so that people that are listening will know that this is also available, in these new formats?
Well, we are doing Zoominars. We just had one a week ago, and we were talking about the vaccine, health equity, talking about hesitancy. Our health ministry, our health committee, I have to distinguish our health committee, they're working on this 5-part series on health equity, on women's health, men's health, mental health. We're working on webinars on voter registration, especially on the impact of this John Lewis voter rights bill. So we're making sure we're broadening the horizon, getting the education out. Our Economic Development Committee will be having Zoomers as well on what's out there, job preparation. We have on our website, Buffalo NAACP.org. We have links out there also that will give where the jobs are, the hiring of different vocations in the area. So we're broadening that scope. We're working along with Roswell as one of our collaborative partners. Kaleida Health is one of our collaborative partners. ECMC. So we're in the health industry and working on those different initiatives with them. And they're helping us as we give out the right information and broadening the message.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Pastor. I just want to jump in for a moment here, Sam, if you don't mind. And Pastor Blue, a comment that you had mentioned earlier is that light hands make what?
Many hands make light work.
There you go. Thank you. I knew I was going to mess it up, so I just asked before I just stepped in it. But I was just wondering, in all seriousness, going back to COVID. What's in the many different partners that in the task force, and I know you work also, served on the board, I believe at ECMC. What's working? What's working? What are some of the things that you're seeing that we need to do to also reach young people, that young audience that you mentioned as well, that's unvaccinated?
We need to have those one-on-one groups. We also need to have community groups, pastors talking to their young people as well. But I found that the most impact to help reach our young people is grandma and grandpa. If you want to see us again, baby, you need to get vaccinated. So
that's right.
I mean, those are the arms and the tentacles that we need to reach. This message is a message that needs to be shared by everyone. We definitely need that information. But when we go to community groups, listen, even, I'm going to say this, there's nothing wrong with being in a gang. It's just the activity of some gangs that make it illegal. Your family is a gang in that perspective. We need to reach those members that are out there because it's important that we share the information with them. Some of them have more influence than others. Sometimes when you hear from a different source, it makes an impact. So we need to reach out to our community centers, and when they're having their different meetings and their different age group meetings, reach out to the YMCAs when they're having their meetings, to some of the senior centers, which are kind of limited now because of COVID, but there are some that are still open. So we need to reach out to them and share that message of good education and good information that they can share with their families. Trusted sources. We need trusted sources that can be a part of the network of sharing what the Roll Up the Sleeves is doing, what REACH is doing, what the NAACP is doing, what National Action Network and what Urban League is doing. We're all in this together because we all have our sphere of influence. Right. No one has influence over everybody, but there are little pockets that we have that we need to make sure we access with the proper information so people can make that great determination and decision making on getting vaccinated.
Right. No, thank you so much. And certainly, people, they can go to, at Reach Buffalo to find out more information, as well as I would encourage, the CDC website. There's a lot of misinformation, that's out there, and, we really need to make sure that people have accurate information, so that they can make an informed, decision. And, when I was thinking about, something you mentioned earlier about the conversations, that we're having, we need to have more family conversations surrounding the subject matter. I was with some friends the other day, and one of my friends was saying that, I'm fully vaccinated, I'm protected. And I'm like, well, share with me a little bit more, not in a threatening way about, fully vaccinated. And he's like, well, I'm fully vaccinated. I was like, well, what does that mean? So a lot of people don't even understand, there's a difference in between up-to-date vaccination. Like, are your vaccinations up to date? Meaning that, you have, completed the series, whether it's the Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson Johnson, and you have your booster. Are they up to date? Fully vaccinated just means that you've completed that series. So there's a difference there, and I know that there's a lot of misinformation and confusion. So what you and I are doing, Sam as well, alongside the task force and other who aren't in the space right now, we're really trying to make sure that people have accurate and factual information so that they can make an informed decision. And I agree with you. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for grandma, do it for your loved ones, do it for your community. I can't emphasize that enough. And I'm glad to be partnering with you, because what impacts the east side of Buffalo impacts the west side of Buffalo, North Buffalo, South Buffalo, Erie County, Allegheny County, and all of the other counties, surrounding counties eventually. So I just want to get your thoughts on, what's your opinion? Like, do you think that this might ever go away? Do you think that it's here to stay? Just in your general opinion.
In my opinion, we're going to be faced with a new normal. Mask wearing is going to be something that we're going to have for a little while. But if everyone takes the proper precautions, all because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you are immune. One of the things that the vaccination does, it prevents you from having a serious or death-defying case of COVID, whether it's Delta, whether it's Omicron, or whatever variant that may pop up. These diseases, they want to live, so they will manifest themselves in a different form. But one of the things about the mask wearing, it protects you and it protects others. So we're going to have this for a little while. Also, we need to look at what fully vaccinated means, as you stated. Being fully vaccinated, having both the regimen of vaccinations and the booster. If there's another booster, we need to do that as well. Because in the flu, if you just have the flu, every year you get a different strand of the flu based on your age. That flu, it continues to metastasize. It continues to grow. So we need to look at that as well when we're talking about being fully vaccinated. People are saying, well, there's new variants that may come out. Yeah, there is. But in the vaccine, you don't get any part of that COVID. With the flu vaccine, you get a dead strand of the flu. So your body can build up the immunity that it needs. I also advocate this. We need to go to primary care physicians, trusted physicians. We don't go to the doctor as often as we should to do regular checkups. So be fully vaccinated. Make sure you have your physical. Make sure you have a primary care physician who knows you, who knows your family history. They are some of the trusted individuals that we can use when it comes down to taking care of our health. So those are very important. This vaccine, it will grow. I pray that it will stop. The influenza stop, polio stop. But remember, they were all vaccinations for that, right?
Right.
So we have to look at our history in America. We've always had these pandemics or epidemics, but there was always a vaccine that we took to help curb that. And we have to be proactive in our health. I'm not going to give any health advice, but there are vitamins that you can take to help boost your immune system. That does not eliminate the vaccine. That, in addition to proper health care, can help you survive whatever storm that may come your way. But we will have this or some form of this, and we have to be vigilant in making sure that we're healthy and strong enough to weather the storm. Now, let me also say, I know time is just ticking. Let me also say that we have to make sure that we're doing all the things we're supposed to do. Social distancing, hand washing. We have to make sure that we're doing that. If you're sick, stay home. If you're sick, don't go to church. Listen, those are some things that we need to continue to do and help curb this pandemic. But we're going to have this or some form of this, so we need to be vigilant.
No, that's it. Thank you, Pastor Blue. I really appreciate that. Is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you want to just take a few, 15, 20 seconds just to acknowledge or to highlight that you want to share?
Well, one of the things I thank you for being a part of this program, because we need to give out that information. We need that trusted sources. We need our folk to talk real talk about what's going on and how we can together as a people curb this, eliminate this, and lessen the effects and severity of this. But we need to continue to talk and use the information that we have. You can go to buffaloNAACP.org. You can get more information. We have things going on. Or if you would like to become a member of the NAACP, there is a link there to where you can click on and you can become a member. We have several different committees that we're asking people to be a part of and be engaged in, because we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Pastor Blue. Listen, y'all heard it first from the president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. You heard? You heard? Okay. All right. Sam, any closing thoughts or closing remarks?
No, I just appreciate Pastor Blue bringing up the idea of the new normal. It's something that we really have to, consider moving forward. For me, I really hope that masks become part of the new normal. You're right. If you're not feeling well, you shouldn't go to X, Y, and Z. Sometimes you might need to go to the grocery store when you're not feeling well, put on a mask, do what you need to do, and get out. Personally, I like the idea that last year we saw such a low case of flu because people weren't out, people weren't together and doing all that. So there is something to be said about this new normal where we take precautions within our own health and within public health. So I really appreciate you bringing that up, and I hope that's something that continues to carry through.
Right. Thank you, Sam. Look, I gave you a new nickname, right? Sam, I am. That's all right.
We'll talk about that one.
We'll talk about that one. Okay. No worries. I just want to thank you all, for being a avid listener, for sharing, your time with us. Time is one of the most precious gifts of all. So we really want to give homage and pay, tribute to you all for listening. We encourage you to find out more about REACH as well as the work that's happening, with the NAACP, and also to take action and to get involved. So, on that note, once again, I want to thank our producer and engineer, Angelita, behind the wheels, the stills, behind the scenes, making this all happen. This is Stan the Man Martin coming to you live from REACH Buffalo, and we'll see you on the other side, and Black History Month 365. Take care, everyone.
REACH Buffalo, promoting a healthy community. REACH, racial and ethnic approaches to community health locally in Buffalo to reduce racial and ethnic health disparities and rates of chronic disease. We want to make a change by reducing exposure to tobacco in housing and work areas, by increasing access to nutritious foods, by creating a breastfeeding community, by increasing referrals to primary care and community health providers, and by implementing community work groups. REACH Buffalo will concentrate on Ferry Street itself, as well as a community that resides within 4 blocks to the north and south of the corridor in 5 zip code areas: 14208, 14209, 14211, 14213, and 14215 in Buffalo, New York, with disparities in rates of chronic disease. Get involved. Ferry area residents will have an opportunity to have a platform to voice their opinions, organize, and make decisions in these efforts. For more information, you can contact Ebony M. White, Community Outreach Coordinator, at 716-268-2954.